Michigan's short track racing authority is Horsepower Happenings.
Charlie Bauer, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Scotty Thiel, welcome to Horsepower Happenings.
John Beach, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Adam Terry, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Paul Pelletier.
Corbin Hazlett, Riley Knoll.
Matt Kemp, Dylan Stovall, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
From pavement to dirt, modifieds to sprint cars, hear from drivers, promoters, track owners, and many other industry leaders.
We worked on that car for 12 days straight, and when I got to the speedway Saturday, I was out of gas. I had to take a nap.
You're out there and, you know, that groove, if you're outside of it, you could be a couple tenths off or even half a second off.
It is not the shock that you've won all these races. You know, I mean, there's so many pieces to the puzzle to make these cars go fast.
I don't care what he says. I saw a thing on Facebook on somebody's post that's now been deleted that one of his crew guys said that the spotter told him car low and I wrecked him.
With over 50 years of experience from racing to management, here are Zach Heiser and Rich
Good
France.
evening, race fans, and welcome into another episode of Horsepower Happenings. A great show lined up for you tonight. Two first-time guests. We'll have Avery Demland coming up in just a moment. Then Brett Mann, who I'm pretty sure we've had on before, Rich. I should have actually looked at this. Do we have three? I don't know. And then Tanner Tallarico will be on as well. But first, here's what's happening in a Mark News Minute. In the world of NASCAR, everybody was in action at Darlington Raceway over the weekend in the Truck Series. How about Corey Heim? Holy smokes. A last lap, I mean, what was he? 10 car lengths back and ends up going to victory lane for Corey Heim on Friday night. He was the show. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, Justin Allgaier goes to victory lane. And then Tyler Reddick absolutely dominated on Sunday. You'll look at the box score and see that he was the pole sitter and then went on to win. But, man, he had to claw through some adversity. But that car was by far the best one on the racetrack. Ty Majeski picked up his sixth career Rattler 250 at South Alabama Speedway on Saturday in a photo finish. Jake Finch would take the Baby Rattler for the Pro Late Model portion on Friday night. Bobby Pierce and Hudson O'Neal split the inaugural weekend with the World of Outlaws Late Models at Magnolia. Fun fact, Pierce has now won at both new venues this season for the World of Outlaws. Rico Abreu grabs Tony Stewart Racing their first high-limit racing Sprint Car Series win on Thursday night. Tanner Thorson grabbed Friday night's win, and it was shoeys all around on Saturday as James McFadden found victory lane. And finally, David Gravel moves his winning streak to 3 wins with wins at Lawton and Creek County on the World of Outlaws Tour. Gravel now passes Daniel Lasowski for 6th on the all-time wins list. Those things and so much more happening tonight on Horsepower Happenings. Good evening. Welcome in. I'm Zach Heiser. Rich France joins me from across the way. How are you, sir?
That would be 6, or that would be 10 truck lengths, by the way.
Is that
Corey
yeah, thank you.
And Corey Heim is just picking up where he left off in 2025, right?
Wow. Unbelievable. And some people, it became a discussion topic on Twitter, like, why does Corey Heim not have a Cup Series ride on Sunday? Well, he kind of does, right? So, kind of signed a deal with 23XL that he'll race for them when a car becomes available, when an opportunity presents itself. So Corey will have a Cup ride very soon, and for good reason too, I think.
Is it ironic, since we had that young man on the show after his win down at Speedfest?
Yeah,
he's been nothing but up. It's because of Horsepower Happenings, right?
Oh, well, sure. Yeah, I'll take credit for that. Why not? Hey, Rich, want to give our condolences to the Kistler family. They are, of course, longtime engine builders in this sport, well known for their power and for their success. And Tom Kistler passed away over the weekend after a battle with cancer. And so thinking of, Rich, any time that someone in the racing family is hurting or mourning, we all are. And so thinking of the Kistler family to start the show here on a Monday night. Yeah,
and I've said this before too much lately, right, Zach? Leading off the show. So, thoughts and prayers to the Kistler family. Man, they did a lot for sprint car racing, didn't they?
Oh, man, and they still do for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I want to say what a cool weekend it was, Rich. No racing per se for us around here. I know Cody got to go to M40 to take in the Drunk Leprechaun or whatever the name was. Great enduro over at Russell's M40 Speedway. But on Friday night, Cody Geyer, who's a team member here with marknews.org and, of course, the Great Lakes Super Sprints, he's a huge hockey fan. And I like hockey. And it was USAC night down in Indy for the Indy Fuel. And so we went down there and we saw some of the drivers with the 500 Sprint Car Tour and with the USAC Silver Crown Series, like Bobby Santos and, of course, Cody Swanson. Taylor Ferns was down there, Rich. And KTJ was there. And I'm missing somebody, darn it. They had about 6 drivers down there. And what a fun time that was to go down there and take that in. And I think it's really cool. You know, the Indy Fuel, ECHL member. So just we're a couple steps below, right, the National Hockey League. But what a cool environment, and very cool to see them embracing short track racing at a different venue.
Yeah, and even though, obviously the home for the 500 Sprint Car Tour, Anderson Speedway, right in Indy's backyard.
Right.
But that's a pretty good market to get to be marketing. Saying it twice. Auto racing of any type, right? Yeah. Especially getting the word out there. So great deal for those guys.
And Cody tuning in, he reminds me it's Jake Swanson, who was the other driver that I forgot that was there. So that was cool. They were signing autographs. They had cars out front for the fans to look at, which I thought was really great. Thursday, Rich, a huge move forward or move in the right direction in protecting our racetracks here in the state of Michigan. It's interesting how polarizing this news was. Not that anybody was against it, but that the legislation was necessary. And that was House Bill 5652, Rich, was voted on and passed the Michigan House. It's better known as the Right to Race Act. And what it does is it protects racetracks in the state of Michigan from litigation for being a nuisance. So if the racetrack has already been established and it's been operating legally, new builds, new developments, or new homeowners cannot come in and decide that this racetrack all of a sudden is a nuisance to their way of life and sue them. So it's a protection bill that, it all kind of stems from Onondaga Dragway. Let's be honest. That's where it starts for us. PRI and SEMA, their lobbyists are heading this bill, which has now passed the Michigan House and will head to the Senate as SB 773. Thursday, I think, was a big day and a big reason to celebrate for us in motorsports here in Michigan.
We talked about this on a previous show, Zach, and what did I say? You knew the racetrack was there when you moved in. What were you thinking? Right? I mean, right. Is that the most obvious thing? But let's get something on the books. It doesn't stop people from harassing our owners and promoters, even though it's probably not going to go anywhere because we don't have any brand new racetracks around here. Pretty much all of our tracks have been around here for a while. And anybody that's moved in near them was after they were. So
that's right.
This is just a formality, and I think it maybe needed to be done just to prevent the ridiculous claims sometimes.
And here's the thing, Rich. Big win on Thursday, but we're not done, right? This isn't law yet. There's 2 more steps that it has to clear. The Senate has to decide that they want it to be law, and then Governor Gretchen Whitmer has to ink her initials, her signature on this bill for it to be law as well. So if you go to our website, horsepowerhappenings.com or marknews.org, and find the article that we posted, SEMA and PRI has given a great kind of outline on how you can write your representatives to encourage them to endorse this bill, Rich, and to vote yes on this bill. And you have to do it kind of tactfully, right? I mean, our racing community can sometimes be a little rough around the edges and pretty blunt, which is okay. But you also don't want to, you don't want to come off as this being an irritating thing for these lawmakers. So you want to encourage them in the right tone, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of ironic. It's no secret that that our governor hasn't been very popular amongst the racing community or the people in it, and she's going to do us a favor, right? So maybe
yes,
yeah. And so I think some people are going to have to maybe eat a little bit of crow and say thank you because she's going to put her John Hancock on there, so to speak.
Look, you're already speaking as though this is going to happen. I like that.
I'm confident. I can't. I would be very surprised if that thing stops in the Senate and after everything that's been done in the House to get it to pass.
Yeah. All right. Some breaking news last night, Rich, as we were going to bed. Not you and I, but as we were all going to bed. Thunderbird Raceway is now officially putting their 2026 season on hold, Rich. This, for a lot of people, kind of felt like a formality that this announcement came out. They were kind of saying that the writing was on the wall. I I think that there was a lot of still, I think that you have to remember there were still fans and race car drivers that were hoping to get to race at Thunderbird Raceway this year. And we're not saying that's not going to happen, but now that the season has been put on hold, a lot of question marks over in Muskegon right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been kind of quiet. It hasn't been an open book out there on what's going on. I mean, we saw some, heard some stuff, and that they were getting prepped for the 2026 season, and then we see this last night. Kind of a surprise, really.
Yeah, so we'll try to follow along. I mean, we just don't know what the situation is, right? We know what we hear and we know what the rumors are, but we don't know anything for fact. And so we're all just kind of waiting, and we'll try to keep you up to date on what's going to happen. As soon as we know about it, we'll try to let you know. But as of right now, literally, as we said, everything on hold.
You would think both parties, knowing they don't want to have this thing carry on too long into the season, whoever's going to run it is going to, maybe cooler heads will prevail, and they'll work out a deal, and somebody will open that thing close to on time in May.
We'll see what happens. Okay, Fast on Dirt opened their season over the weekend, Rich. On Saturday night, they went over to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania Motor Speedway. Of course, Fast on Dirt, the 410 wing sanction down in Ohio. And AJ Flick, I like this. I have a play on words. He was flicking fast, Rich. The Pennsylvania native went to victory lane. And some good runs by some of our locals. I consider Tim Schaefer a local now that he drives for Danny Williams. He podiumed out there at PPMS, and Tyler Gunn had a good run. Tough day for Zane DeVault. He didn't get the finish that he was looking for, had some contact in the middle of that feature, and so he finished toward the back. But sprint car racing is going over in Pennsylvania, so now if we can just get it a little closer to home, things will be better.
They're trying in Ohio, aren't they? But this is about the same thing. Be honest, Attica was pretty wet. They showed some pictures earlier in the week, and there was snow on the ground, and then they got it all melted. And I mean, you melt that stuff, and it's really hard to get it dry. Somewhere. Yeah, it's got to go somewhere.
You know what, though? There was some debate amongst ourselves and online. There's kind of this shtick that Ohio tracks don't like to be juiced up. Could we have raced at Attica Raceway Park? They know that racetrack better than anybody. They say no. If they would have raced, if it had a track with character in it, would there have been complaints on social media? Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. So these same race car drivers that complain when it's dry slick top to bottom or it takes rubber or whatever, they'd have been right on there complaining if it had been juiced up and had character in it too.
Yep. And it's that time of year. This is not the first season that we watched Attica Raceway Park make a run through March and not get an event in. They're still trying. They got this weekend. This is the last weekend of March to try to squeeze one in. And after 2 weeks, if they can get that track anywhere near race ready, they're going to pack the fans in, I think.
What I never understand is why people get all bent out of shape that they schedule races in March. Why wouldn't you? If you get one of those random 70-degree days to fall on a Friday or Saturday, the place is going to be packed. I mean, that's a pass, go, collect $200 type of show right there.
Yeah, and you're lucky. The weather this week, it doesn't look spectacular for Friday night. It looks like it's going to be down near 30 or in the 20s. But on Saturday, they're looking like it's going to be in the mid 50s. And if they could do a 3:00 start, mid 50s, I think that would be pretty good for them.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. And Rich, another season and another streak of Horsepower Happenings guests going to victory lane.
We started it. Yep.
Rusty Schlenk went down to the Ultimate Super Late Model Series events down south and finished second on Friday night before going to victory lane on Saturday night. That's just 5 days after being on Horsepower Happenings.
And back-to-back nights, new track record holder.
New track record,
where both nights broke the track record. Congratulations to Rusty. Appreciate it.
Good job.
That was cool.
Good job. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, a first-time guest on the program and a first-time runner with a first-time series. We talk about the IHRA, holy smokes, Stock Car Series with Avery Demland. That's coming up next here on the Horsepower Happenings podcast.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Cody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
This place completely fills up for the little 500 people from all over.
Here comes Jake Trader, the number 29. How about that? He will be the bridesmaid no more. Bobby Santos is going to pick up the win.
Oh, trouble already.
Wow. Trouble over at turn 4. 2 to go. Cody Swanson is there.
Here goes Rourke, back-to-back champion. Tyler Rourke wins.
I guess tonight I was a sprint car guy.
Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. It's our pleasure now to welcome in a driver out of Ohio, Indiana. I don't know. I see both sometimes. I think out of Ohio now. Avery Demland, welcome on. What's going on?
Not much. Got the car unloaded, and it is Ohio now. That's where we are.
Perfect. What a big weekend for you for many different reasons. First of all, getting the season started. That's always huge and exciting. But brand new series that nobody's ever run before, brand new track that basically nobody's run, and both of those things true for you as well. A track you've never been to, kind of a region you've never been to, a new car for you, a new chassis, just a lot of things to unpack this weekend. I know that the finish probably was not what you had hoped for, had some mechanical issues, but what do you take away from this weekend? IHRA Stock Car Series and things of that nature. How did it go?
I mean, overall, for the first race for the series, everything was super smooth. Everyone was super professional and nice. I loved everyone that I got to meet. Everything, like tech was super efficient. I was a little worried because we had literally just finished this car at 3:30 a.m. before we had to leave, Friday morning. So I was worried about tech, but we were a little low, but they worked with us. We were able to get it up. Dad had to fix a couple other things. I was weirdly light in this car. I don't know if this chassis is just a lot lighter, so that was an adjustment. There is so much lead in this car right now. The track was super fun. What time I got to be out there other than the race, it, like you said, it wasn't quite the finish I wanted, but my main goal was just to get there this weekend. Dad and I scrambled to get this car together. He did an amazing job finishing it and getting me to the track, so that was just that was our big overarching goal.
Second season for you in Temple Late Model Racing, and when IHRA comes out over the offseason and says they're doing this, obviously, you know, they dangle the big carrot, which is always helpful, but what else attracted you guys to go down and check this series out?
Well, with having to start over with a new car, that was part of it because it's not like we really had to transition stuff over. And I mean, other than shocks and radiator, there isn't a whole lot that's different, but it was a new series, a fresh start. I love CRA and all the people we've met there, but I mean, the purse was a big thing. And Dad and I just this kind of goes back to old school racing, and Dad thought it'd be better fit for us. I was a little more hesitant, but the more we talked about it, we both thought it was a pretty good idea.
What about it felt like old school racing to you? Expand on that.
So, I mean, you're not having to put as much dollars into some of the parts you're getting. We don't have bump stops. You can't have you're limited on what you can do to the car, so it's kind of puts a lot more in the driver's hands. And coming from running sprint cars as a kid, we kind of felt like that would be more my style once I get adjusted to it.
How hard was it, Avery? You know, we've seen, you know, last year running with the JXRA All-Stars Tour, now the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series. These are drivers you probably haven't run with at all before. How did that go for you, being with a whole new group of drivers that you kind of had to learn what's going on around you?
Aside from JP Crabtree.
I was going to say JP Crabtree, Billy Hayes. Obviously, I've watched some Tony Breiniger, and she made an appearance and ran with us But yeah, it's different. I mean, with CRA, I could predict. I pretty much knew everyone we were running with, what they would do, what their driving styles were like. With not having a lot of track time, I just knew, with not knowing fully what the car was going to do, to kind of stay out of the way. I know how to keep the car for the most part under control. So I trusted that these drivers weren't necessarily going to just come plowing through me. And because I watched them in practice all day, there's some really amazing drivers in this series. It's super competitive. It got a little rough in the race, but it's an adjustment. I mean, I know how JP drives. He can wheel the heck out of anything. So it was nice to have somebody familiar there who I could kind of go talk to if I needed something.
Is that something that you're going to have to deal with as long as you're running a pro late model, that when you get in a race, it's going to be on the edge of out of control and they're not going to be as polite as they were in practice?
Come on,
is the nicest way. Is the nicest way I can put it.
Use the Chris Shannon line.
Yeah,
Pro's
I mean,
gonna pro.
That's always the case, right? Like, especially now with IHRA, there's a lot of money on the line, especially this first race. People wanted that. There were only 17 cars, and I can't even remember how many finished, like 10, maybe. I can't, I know I finished 12th, and I'm not sure how many ended up out after me, but yeah, people are going to be aggressive, especially I'm down south with different drivers. I don't know their driving styles, but I just assume that there's going to be some aggression there.
Avery, let's talk about you getting behind the wheel of a template car, and maybe let's even go back further than that. You mentioned that you guys ran micro sprints when you were younger. Talk about your racing career, because there's a hiatus in there where you kind of changed from driver to up in the spotter stand, turning wrenches, tightening lugs, all that. So take me all the way back, I guess, to start to the micro days.
So the first time I would have been in a junior sprint, I think I was 7. I don't really know where my dad got it from. He brought it home, threw me in it around the backyard a couple times and said, let's go to the racetrack. That first junior sprint was, I mean, we didn't have a lot of money in it. I'm sure I wasn't very good. I don't recall that first year being very good. And then the further I went along in that, I won a feature at Logan Sport I remember it was my black junior sprint. So it wouldn't have been that first year, maybe my second or third year in it. I was really good in heat races, and then features kind of weren't my style as much. I don't think I really had bad finishes, but then I went up to the 600 with the restrictor plate. Again, I was pretty good in features. I could rip off some fast laps, but I never won a feature in the 600. And I loved dirt. I mean, you can just drive the heck out of those things. I probably would have gone back to dirt if Dad had let me, but he got tired of the cleanup. So we sold everything when my grandma had gotten sick, and then neither of us raced for a while. Dad got back into it with mini stock at Angola, and then I started coming around again some more once I wasn't as busy with sports. Mostly, yeah, turning wrenches on that or doing whatever Dad needed. And then when he decided to go the late model, I didn't spot for him right away. I was just kind of there when I could be with school and stuff. But then the more involved I got, the more I wanted back in the seat. So I was kind of like, hey, Dad, let's kick you out. And then when I started spotting, I feel like that got the itch even more, because you see and learn so much from being up in that spotter stand. And then I was like, okay, Dad, time for you to retire.
Yep, it's time for Avery to get back behind the wheel. Real quick, I want to say this interview is brought to you by marknews.org. Sign up for the free weekly newsletter by visiting the website at marknews.org. Follow Michigan Area Racing Connection on Facebook for a chance to win season tickets to various racetracks this year. And Michigan Area Racing Connection will bring you behind-the-scenes coverage from the area's biggest races of the year live on our social media platform, Michigan Area Racing Connection and marknews.org. Rich?
Yeah. Avery, you talked about the racing history, but I think there's a lot of people that don't know that's not what you're going to be doing for a living behind you for the rest of your life. Talk about your school and what you want to do outside of racing. I think that's pretty cool.
So I spent 7 years in college, 4 years with an undergrad in English. I'm glad I ended up going to law school, because people told me that my English degree is about as useful as a park bench, but at least a park bench can support its family. So I ended up going to law school. I kind of knew that was going to be the path. I had initially wanted to go to med school and then figured out that was not for me. And then I have a couple family members that went to law school, and so I said, you know what, I can do it too. And then spent 3 years in law school at Ohio Northern, Pettit College of Law. And I was kind of juggling that and helping Dad on the late model when he was running with CRA. And then for the last, I graduated in October or May of 23, took the bar and got passed in October of 23. So it's been 2.5 years now that I've been an attorney here in Bryan, Ohio. So I got to have a job like that to pay for some of this stuff.
We messed up because Zach, we should have brought her on with Taylor Ferns. We could have just sat back, right? Because Taylor's in law as well, and she's making her way through racing, doing the same thing. That's pretty cool.
It's a lot of balance. I have a lot of late nights or dad's out here in the shop and I'm working, but I love what I do and I love racing. I would do racing full time if I could, but that's just, kind of hard to do.
Yeah. And what I think is cool is, and I don't know, you're going to fact check us right now on this, but Brian tells me that he is an employee of Avery Demland on this race team. Is that true?
I guess, yeah. So 1-5 Motorsports is my dad and I, but mostly I am in charge, yes.
So he can get released. Wow.
Oh, man, Rich went there.
So also he has to, not necessarily, but when he has questions for his daytime job, he has to come to me as well because I'm the village solicitor where he's the zoning officer. So he has to kind of answer to me in more ways than one, and I have to keep him out of lawsuits.
Oh, my goodness gracious. That is awesome. What is that relationship like between you two? Because I've seen where you both are such great people. You're so calm and you're so, your demeanor is just great. But I also know there's a lot of passion there. So how has that been for you guys as a father-daughter race team?
Well, you should have been there on Saturday because I was getting yelled at. But no, my dad and I's relationship, it's great. Like he's my best friend. You kind of have to get along being together as much as we are with our daytime jobs and outside jobs. But I mean, the man sacrifices everything so I can be in a race car, and I couldn't ask for a better dad. I'm very lucky. Like he literally slaved on this car for weeks to make sure I got to the track, and then was up all day and drove all night so we could get to Virginia. So I'm beyond lucky. I mean, both of my parents are great. My mom's super supportive. She's just not as involved, but I don't know where I'd be without dad and him getting me to the track and putting in as much time as he does.
And I'll tell you, I know how close you guys are and how much you don't like to quit, right? I was at Owasso Speedway when you wouldn't quit, and it was probably 140 degrees in that race car, and you got out and scared the daylights out of your dad when you just ended up on the ground. I was about 10 feet away. Rough night for you, wasn't it? That night.
Yeah, so I drove that pretty much that whole race with no power steering. It was maybe like my third or fourth race in the late model. So, I mean, I was not fabulous. I'm still not fabulous by any means, but I was still learning and trying to manhandle that car around the track without power steering. And it was a rough race because that was probably the most cautions and everything that we've ever had in a JEGS race that I can remember. But I think it was maybe 6 to go. I was a couple laps down. We had another caution. And dad came over the radio. He's like, only a couple more laps, kid. You can do it. But I'm going down the front stretch, and the car just, no matter what I put into it, was just going, and I couldn't turn it anymore. And I said, Dad, I can't do it. So I pulled it off to the side and then just keeled over. I was so hot and definitely dehydrated. But, I mean, per usual, Dad picked me up. We got everything fixed, and we were back for the next race.
How scared were you feeling like that? Had you ever felt like that before?
I have definitely had some dehydration issues before. I'd passed out, I believe, in high school in volleyball from being dehydrated because I overheat pretty easy. I battled some overheating early on in the season, but it hadn't been quite that bad as it was at Owasso. It's just I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to not finish the race, and so I probably pushed myself a little too far. And I think Dad even kind of got on me a little for just not parking it because, I was to a point that I was that sick, but I mean, I'm just as stubborn as my dad is, so I'm not going to give up unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's, I want to talk about the passion that you guys have for this because you're continuing to learn. And I think a lot of people have to remember that this is second year for you now. I mean, you tested at the end of 24 and then race in 25. And now here we are coming into 2026. So finishing races was the goal in 2025. What is the goal for 2026? And again, saying with you have a new chassis, new sanctions that you're going to be trying to run with. So what are you guys looking to accomplish this year?
I mean, we just overall want to be competitive. Like I know I have the ability. My dad knows I have the ability. It's just kind of learning these new tracks that other than Cordell, that we've never been to. Thankfully, I do have some experience at Cordell, even though that was my first ever late model race, and I think I blacked out the entire time. But
What do you mean by that? What, like just the nerves or what?
oh yeah, I was honestly so anxious and terrified, and I just wanted to stay out of the way and finish the race, which I accomplished there. But other than just being competitive, I just want to keep learning, work on my actual racecraft, and not just having, stay out of the way. Because I kind of at Virginia, with some of the issues we were having, I wasn't super competitive, but I wasn't there to light the world on fire.
And I think that's important too. Like, I think that people look at your program, and I think it's important for them to realize that Avery and Brian Demland know what the stopwatch says, and they know what it needs to say. Like, you're not naive to that fact, right?
No, we've always been realistic. I mean, Dad and I have literally built this up from nothing. Like our first CRA car was, I mean, I'll be fully honest, it was trash. Like we ran with what we had. Dad drove the heck out of what he could. And we didn't have the parts. We've built up some decent program. We had to restart after I wrecked at Nashville and that chassis and all of that. But yeah, we're with the left-hander now, and honestly, it's a good car. I was what time I could get with it over the weekend. Dad and I were kind of trying to fine tune what we could, but I mean, we're learning as we go, and Dad's learning more and more adjustments and how to be a crew chief, especially a crew chief to his kid. And our expectations are very realistic. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna go out there and win. Like that's not our goal. I just want to race, have fun with my dad and the amazing crew that I have, and get better results. Just keep improving as we go along.
And I think you guys are doing the right way. You know, I always love the saying, to finish first, you must first finish, right? And you have to learn how to do that. Because you're racing against some tough competition, right? I mean, these are probably two of the, IHRA is just getting started, but I expect it to be just as competitive as this Turn One CRA Pro Series, which you have plenty of it, and you know how tough that is. You start running, you finishing, then you worry about finishing on the lead lap, and then you start saying, okay, we're going to get a top 15. Okay, now we're going to get a top 10, and you got to work that way. You can't just go from, okay, we're a couple laps down, we're going to win next week. It just doesn't work that way.
For sure. And last year we definitely were making some big steps. I mean, Dad says it was my come to Jesus moment at Kalamazoo. I was already a lap down or something, but then I just finally figured it out, and I'm running faster than the cars that finish in front of me. In Auto City, I had a great run. I'm not great at restarts, and that's where I lost it on the two cars in front of me, like Mandy Chick and Will Sahutsky. I mean, I can compete, and some of these people don't realize, I think, that these drivers have been driving for years. In template late models, I mean, Mandy's been in ARCA, so I'm getting to drive with some really amazing people, and I'm trying to catch up. And I feel like I was decently competitive last year for, I guess, how little time in the seat I've had.
So 2026, we have a story on our website, marknews.org, horsepowerhappenings.com. We'll get you there too about your intentions, but that's 4 weeks old now. So now you've got a race in the books. I think you said you had a hub fail or something on you there, which is going to happen on the first night out. But what now? Now you've got a night under your belt. You know how the left-hander drives and how it feels, and it sounds like it's given you some confidence in what you might be able to do with that. What are you looking at next?
I really we want to fine tune the car. I want to finish at Cordell, like make sure everything was good. Honestly, though, for Dad just finishing this car, with the minimal problems that we did have, super proud of him for all of that. I just want we go through the car, make sure we don't have anything major else to worry about. And then, I mean, I go out there, get some time at Cordell and put together a whole race and get a decent finish.
What are you using? Is that a cell phone that you're on for the interview right now, or what are you on? Laptop?
I'm on my laptop. My phone's right here.
Oh, okay. All right. I was going to say that thing is a beautiful race car. We'll post some pictures this week because it looks fantastic. Did you design that? Who designed that for you?
Race One Wraps did it, and I mean, Dad and I had some input on it, but it's pretty sweet. Like I'm pretty
it is very nice. I said before we came on the air, I said if you ding up one of those wheels or break a wheel or bend a wheel, I want it because the wheels are beautiful as well.
Those are Arrow's new teal wheels. They are beautiful. Kelly set me up with those. I saw them at PRI and I was obsessed. And it's also part of, I have a Dynamic Drivelines, their logo, teal and the dynamic blue. That's why my chassis is blue. Mike's been super helpful in getting me some of this stuff too. And car just looks cool.
It really does.
Mark on the back.
Yes, that. Yep. And we missed the color scheme a little bit, but not too bad. We're at least in the wheelhouse. And when I raced, Avery, Dad always said, if you can't be first, at least look good, right? So we're doing that.
I got a lot of compliments on the car all weekend. A lot of people told me it was the best looking car there, so I'll take that.
Did you get like a $500 bonus for having the best looking car?
We'll see. I'll call up Daryl and ask him if he's gonna add that onto my check. Especially it's got green, that's his favorite color.
See?
I'm not sure if anybody really saw much of the track through the video or through the race, but he painted the entirety of like everything lime green because that's his favorite color.
Awesome. Well, Avery, this has been a long time coming. Oh, Rich, you got something?
No, I was just going to ask her, we saw the schedule announcement about the IHRA series and a lot of travel with you guys, right, to do that. And I know we're going to see on the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series, what's your first event there?
CRA, I am hoping to run IRP. Dad really loves it there. I've been there with Greg Van Alst's truck. I really liked it. Nice fast track, but for sure Winchester. I don't know what I have to do to get there. I don't care what I have to do, but I will be at Winchester. And then hopefully Nashville. I want to tackle that after the way it ended last year. So
you owe that place something, don't you?
I do. It owes me.
Avery, appreciate you making time. Thank you for doing that, and good luck with the IHRA Stock Car Series. When is Cordial? Do you know the date? Do you have that?
Dad, is it?
I knew I should have had this one pulled up. It's coming
April
up in
18th, I think.
April. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it's the same weekend as Toledo, or else I probably would have made it to Toledo.
Okay. Yep. So April 18th. So good luck with that. A return to Cordial, and looking forward to keeping an eye on how things go this season.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we get into our History Month segment with Brett Mann. That's straight ahead here on the Horsepower Happenings podcast.
Mark News is back. Michigan Area Racing Connection News keeps fans in the tri-state area up to date on national headlines, local results, regional news, and so much more. Home of the Horsepower Happenings podcast, 500 Sprintcast, Gridline Social, Job Bank, Fastlane Images, KG Media, and so much more. MarkNews.org is the one stop for any race fan who needs to know what's going on in the Michigan area. Plus, get the Mark News weekly newsletter sent right to your inbox, FREE free. Sign up today and learn more at MarkNews.org. MarkNews.org, the Michigan Area Racing Connection.
The 4th Annual Bob Finley Memorial is Saturday, May 9th at Owasso Speedway, featuring outlaw super late models racing for over $20,000 to win. Plus, each lap leader gets a bonus. Open wheel modifieds, trucks, and mini wedges are also in action. And race fans, it's autograph night. Get a chance to meet and get an autograph from the region's best drivers. Advanced tickets to the 4th Annual Bob Finley Memorial are now on sale at OwassoSpeedway.com. The 4th Annual Bob Finley Memorial, Saturday, May 9th at Owasso Speedway.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Cody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. It's our pleasure now to welcome in a class of 2020 inductee into the Michigan Motorsports Hall of Fame. For March is Michigan Motorsports History Month. The Hoosier Rocket is here, everyone. Brett Mann, what's going on?
Oh, not too much. Yeah, how you doing?
Good, good. And I will call you Jetman at some point because it's been long enough since I've had to announce your name that I will call you Jet. But Man, what a cool thing. 2020 inductee into the Michigan Motorsports Hall of Fame only 6 years ago, which feels like it's flown by for me anyhow. What do you remember about getting that phone call and finding out that you were being inducted?
It was really exciting. I didn't really know anything about it, wasn't expecting it, and Darcy had called and let me know, and it was like I say, it was a really cool deal.
Did you know that you were nominated?
I knew I was nominated. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if they tried to keep it a secret, but I knew that.
What do you recall about the induction day, right? So we talked to Leo last week, and he was like, "Man, I remember that day so clear, walking in and seeing all these other Hall of Famers and things like that." But this was COVID times. Did you guys get to go and have a banquet?
Oh yeah, yeah. We went and had the banquet, and my mom and dad were there, and Bill Raleigh and his wife came up that I drove for later in the 2000s that I won a couple side championships for, and had some other family members, and like I say, I remember seeing Bob Senecker there, and that was somebody I always admired growing up, and got to talk to him quite a bit, and that was one of the cooler things I remember about it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, when I was looking, finding some pictures to do some promos this week, what a cool span of your career in the way that these cars have changed and how the technology has changed and things of that nature. So, racing from the '80s and then into the 2010s, really, you just recently have kind of stepped out of the car. Man, how much has this industry changed in sprint car racing?
Um, it's the same, but it's different. It's just, I mean, the basic cars, there really isn't a whole lot different. Just the technology is shocks and engines and just kind of little tweaks. I mean, it's like I tell people, there's really nothing new anymore. There ain't been nothing new in a long time.
Sure.
But everything has been tweaked and refined to the max. And the cars, they drive a little different, and the motors run a little different. But if you look at it, like looking back when I started around 85 to now, I mean, it looks drastically different. I mean, I ran a little bucket seat when I started that people think I was nuts.
Yeah, for sure. I always
But,
think the wing. I am always surprised at how different the wings look. Like when you talk about technology advancing, you wouldn't think that an arrow, just this big square thing would change as much as it does. But man, you talk about refining it. They have found ways to just make those wings perform so much different.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. The wings, like I say, it's all more refined. We didn't have sliders back when I started, and like I say, the placement of where the wing wasn't something that people looked at as being that critical. And like I say, just all the little things are what's really changed in the sport. Like I say, it's fun to look back at the pictures and stuff, and because Jet and some of them think I was crazy for,
Well,
like I say, looking at the seats and just the different things. But I, like I say, my dad's restored cars, and I know kind of the history of the sport from its beginnings. And I look at the guys from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and the stuff they did, and how crazy they were, because our stuff was way safer than theirs.
At least you had a hard helmet around your head, not
Oh
just a
yeah,
leather thing. You know what I mean?
yeah, and yeah. It's
Brett, was there a point later in your career and that made you decide, maybe this is enough for me, I don't have to do it anymore? Or was it just seeing that Jet was ready to let him go and go off on his own?
It was really more because of Jet. I mean, I really ain't even retired now. I might race this year, and I might never race again. That's what I tell people. But I've had a good career, and I tried racing with Jet one year, and it just didn't really work for me. I couldn't focus when he was on the track and I'm on the track at the same time. I couldn't focus on me. I was worrying about him and what the car was doing and what he was doing and how I could help him as a driver and how I could help him make the race car faster, and that bothered me. And that's why I ended up stepping out of the car and to try and help him be his best. And
Besides the fact that sprint cars these days, whether they're on dirt or pavement, require you to have 100% attention on what you're doing.
Yeah, it definitely does, and you need to be focused, and like I say, and I couldn't separate the two, and I like I say, and I kind of always thought that I've had my day in the sun, and I'm okay. But that was kind of the main reason. And I still burned the race, and I still burned to win.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
something, but that I think that's something that any driver does. Even when, like say, when they quit, and that's why a lot of guys don't go to the races anymore. Is they like say it's something that bothers them.
Well, and you think like you think, well, being there, being involved, work with a series or work with a track or be on a team, not even close to being there sitting behind the wheel, right?
No, it's not. It's just like say, it's just different. It's just the competition and that's something that drove me my whole career is the competition and wanting to win. And that like I say, the winning is something that was always before me before fun. And once I won a race, it kind of sucked all the fun out of racing for me because all I ever wanted to do was win again.
Who was it, Rich, that we talked to that said, yeah, racing is fun, but winning is fun, and so I'm not having fun unless I'm
Yeah.
winning.
Yeah.
And that's
Any driver we talk to.
right.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and like I say, and that's like I say, all the guys who run up front when they all burn like that, and like I say, that's the good and bad of racing. Like I say, I raced, like I say, as I tell you, I won a race. My dad and me, which we raced a whole lot together for a lot of years, I'd run second, third. I could come from the rear, anything else. But if I didn't win, we'd ride home from I-96 for 2.5 hours in total quietness. No radio, no anything, because we were both pissed we didn't win. and, and most people would be happy as heck, but I mean, I had a lot. Like I say, it's like any. We had a lot of good nights. It was happy, but there's a lot of quiet nights, and that's part of it. I kind of somewhat regret is it really sucked. Like I say, for me, it sucked the life out of racing in a way, wanting to win so bad. But that's the way I've been with anything I've ever done in life, whether it's bowling, whether it's basketball, whether it's anything. That's why, like I say, I have a hard time with stuff because I want to win bad. And if I'm playing Uno with you, I'm pissed off if I lose.
But it's got to make you feel good. You can put when you're not behind the wheel, you can put your energy towards Jet, help him, and man, you guys got that car. You've had that car rolling good many times last year.
Yeah, I have, and honestly, I tell Jet all the time that the car's waiting on him because I know how to set the car up to go fast, and I can watch it, and I can tell him what to do, and it's just his experience now trying to catch up with the race car. And he probably gets tired of me telling him that, but he's catching up. And Jet probably hasn't ran 50 races yet, features in his career, and he's won. Five of them, and we easily probably could have won at least another five of them. So he's doing well, but I like say I always expect too much, and I kind of have to ratchet myself back.
I want to ask you,
I've never been in a sprint car, and if you gave me 50 races, I would probably win that many in a sprint car.
yeah, I know it's not easy, and he's like I say he's done exceptionally well for very limited experience, and like I say I'm proud of him.
And while we're talking about Jet, I wanted to ask you about last summer at Butler. Jet gets his first GLSS win. Obviously, not his first career win, but with a touring series, with talent coming from out of town to be a part of it. And that win was not without some controversy. So I wanted to ask you how you, as a dad, kind of handled that, where Jet had to go talk to Dustin about what happened on the racetrack, but also you guys want to celebrate a win, and I'm sure you've been in those situations before, and obviously your family has known Dustin for a long time. And so how did you guys navigate that night?
It's always tough like that. And like I say, I've been friends with Dustin since I've come back to running 360s and doing that stuff. And in my whole career, I've never wanted to have any contact with anybody racing like that. And and just like that, there was no intent on the pass. I think it was hard racing, and Jet went for an open spot, and Dustin had moved up and was trying to protect, but still, like I say, I don't ever feel good about situations like that because I always want to win a race clean, and it's especially tough when you're racing with somebody like say you're friendly with and you've been friends with a long time, but like I say, it's still a good win for Jet, and I'm glad we got it. But like I say, that's something that I've tried to put into him. It's kind of my old school deal of giving room and racing clean, and that's a tough road to navigate anymore in sprint cars because the way guys drive in the last 10, 15 years, and especially last 5, is extremely aggressive. And they cut guys very little slack, and they make moves that I would never make in my life, and nobody from my generation would make. But that's the way the world is, and I can't tell Jet 100% to drive the way I do because that don't work anymore.
Well, that was going to be my question too. Is yeah, you can try to instill that, but also Jet has to create his own. He has to create his own driving style. He has to create his own image. With that in the back of his head, and so was there a teaching moment there for you to say, okay, you have to. This is going to suck. Dustin's pissed, but you have to go talk to him. Like, did you guys have to have that conversation?
I didn't really have any conversation like that. I mean, we were parked next to each other that night, and then
you already knew.
Oh, yeah, well, you already know, but I mean, I've been around racing, just like I said, since Dustin's career and a whole lot of guys' careers, and I've seen Dustin make moves just like that throughout his career, and just like Jet, like I say, Dustin got into Jet at 96 the year before, and I've always taken stuff like that when you race with guys like that are friends, that there's never any ill intent, and sometimes stuff happens, and it's racing, you move on, and you, like I say, you take the good with the bad, and like I say, I pretty much take that there's nobody racing for the most part is trying to crash anybody or do anything like that. I mean, sometimes stuff happens, but like I say, there's no ill intent usually. Like I say, there's some, I've seen some, but through the years, but for the most part, people are like, especially when you're racing on a local and a weekly type level, people you race with all the time, you just, like I say, it's just a kind of a
part of it. Yeah, the fans enjoyed it. That's one thing. So, hey, real quick, want to say thank you to Sweet Manufacturing. They are presenting Michigan Motorsports History Month this month and helping us do these interviews like we are with Brett. Owned and operated right here in Michigan, Sweet Manufacturing is your local solution to national level performance. Rack and pinions, steering boxes, pumps, U-joints, sprint car components that Brett never had to worry about until recently, like wing cylinders, wing valves, and much more. Call them locally today at 269-344-2086. That's 269-344-2086. Or currently going on now, free shipping on orders over $500 when you shop online at sweetmanufacturing.com. Sweet Manufacturing, let them turn your wheels.
Brett, you talked about, the drivers these days driving, let's just say, the wheels off all the time. And I think a lot of that, we talked to Rusty Schlenk about it a week or so ago. A lot of it is the formats, right? With the heat races, if you want a chance to win the race, you got to be finish up in front of the heat races, or you don't have a chance to make the invert, because if you get behind all those cars, you have slim to no chance of winning the race. You think that's got to do with something to do with it these days?
It's definitely got a lot to do with it. And because like I say, when I started racing, most nights there was 5 cars you were racing, and honestly, there was probably 5 cars that had good equipment. And now, when you pull in the pits, there ain't hardly a car in the pits that doesn't have really good stuff and really good motors, and everything is really, really tight. I mean, if you look through the qualifying, and it don't matter whether it's the Outlaws, High Limit, GLSS, you're lucky if there's half a tenth most times between quick time and 20th quick. And I mean, back in the early 90s, there could be half a second between first and fifth. And and it's just everything is so tight anymore that it's just really ratcheted things up between the driving, and I think that's what you see a lot of guys just having to really take chances that they didn't used to take. And to get in them first couple rows, 3 rows tops, because if you aren't in them, you're most likely you're not winning. I mean, it just don't happen. Most of the time, if you ain't in the front row, you're not winning. And it's like I say, that's the part of racing that's really changed because back in the day when I started, I've won races from dead last. I mean, more than once. And I've won, I mean, a lot, most of the races in my career, I won from 8th, 10th, 12th. I mean, stuff that could never happen in today's world.
And what I think is and you mentioned it, whether it's a weekly show at Butler, Attica, Fremont, or 360 show with us, Great Lakes Super Sprints, or High Limit or World of Outlaws, that technology and those cars, everything, there's no margin anymore. And if you put a guy who maybe ran mid pack or dead last the night before, even you put him up front, that next night he's got a shot to win.
Exactly. And you see it all the time. Like say, racing now is so much qualifying oriented, and it's basically your night because that sets up your heat race, and then your heat race sets up the feature. And if you don't get qualified good enough to start towards the front of a heat or in a position to get yourself locked into the feature, your night's basically kind of done then. And like I say, and it don't matter whether it's local or at the top, but on the next night it can totally switch. You can see somebody who ran 10th or 12th or 14th, they get qualified and everything goes right. Well, they start up front in the feature. Well, this guy's running up front, and the night before he was at the rear. And it's just it's just stuff you didn't used to see years ago.
What a change 24 hours will make too, which is so wild. All right, I want to get back to some of your career stuff here. This is why we had you on, and I want to ask you about the days of sod. One of the pictures I found was you winning a sprints on dirt race. Again, sprints on dirt, and a lot of sprint car fans will know where I'm going with this. From Kalamazoo Speedway, what were those days like when sod would roll into a dirt or an asphalt facility and you had to be ready to go?
I honestly, I really enjoyed those days, especially like I say, those first days, because when sod first started running pavement with the dirt, we'd run I-96 on Friday night, and we'd run Kalamazoo or Auto City or somewhere else on Saturday night, and there was no switch having another car. We ran the same cars. We might put a different front axle in it with the right front brake, and that's it. It'd go racing, and the cars were loose like they were on dirt going around the track, really? Tires smoking, just driving the wheels off the thing. And like I say, the shows 100% were way better shows than what they are. The more refined the guys got with the pavement cars, the more the races got follow the leader, and just the cars got more locked down. And but I like say I enjoyed the pavement racing back there a lot.
What kind of tires would you have? Pavement specific tires, or were you knocking knobs off of what you had from the dirt cars?
No, we had pavement specific tires back then. Yep. Yeah. We just mount, like say, we just mount a set of pavement tires up and a couple stagger options and go.
Would you worry about cleaning the car from the week or the night before, or would you let the dirt go out there and make it a little slicker?
Most guys probably did. I doubt if I did. Yeah, I'm still. If I race 2 nights in a row, I still won't wash the car.
Brett, I gotta ask you. You know, we had Dennis Strickland on this month, and I asked him, and I'm going to ask you the same thing. We asked him what was his most prized accomplishment, and he didn't stutter and knew it was the Glass City 200. That he was a local guy, and local guys don't win that race. It's the travelers and the big money. Over your career, what do you feel is your biggest accomplishment that you feel good about?
The USAC feature win is probably my biggest one. It's the one I'm probably remembered for the most. And with USAC is something you probably get recognized with the most. Even still now, they'll post stuff about winning that race and that I'm part of the 100% feature win club that I've won 100% of the USAC races I've won. And like I say, it's kind of cool. And so that's probably my biggest win. But the Pennsylvania Speed Week win I won against the Posse was a close second, because I've always kind of been a low key guy in this Michigan type area. And when I went out to Pennsylvania, most of the people didn't know me or know anything else. And when I won that race, it was really like it was a shock to everybody out there. And that was really cool. Like I say, that was a win that I probably enjoyed as much as the USAC win. But for the notoriety, the USAC win was definitely my best.
I wanted to ask you,
Plus, from what I hear, Zach, when you go to Pennsylvania, somebody outside wins, the posse doesn't take it real good, do they?
Oh no, they were all, like say, they were all over about an outsider beating their guys, and like say, it was really cool, because it was hilarious how serious they are about racing out there. I mean, that's one thing about racing from the early '80s to now. It ain't no different. Them people are dead serious about sprint car racing. I mean, you go in the little restaurants out there, anything else, there's pictures of sprint cars on the walls. I mean, the fans, I mean, they go to the races. I mean, they're hardcore.
I love that.
It is 100% the coolest area in the United States you can go for sprint car racing.
I love that.
Eat and sleep it.
All right, now I'm going to clarify for the fans watching at home. This USAC win, this was a non-wing USAC show, like what we're used to seeing, right?
It was a winged race.
It was a winged race. Okay.
Yeah, that's the year USAC split the schedule up, and they'd let tracks choose if they wanted to run wings or non-wing. And that was a wing race at I-96. Yeah.
So the reason I brought that up is that's another unique part of that lore, if you will, for you, is one of the very few guys who are going to have a winged USAC sanctioned win, because they're so known for the non-wing stuff now.
Yeah, it was just that year, and there was just like I say, just a handful of guys. Hank won a race at Butler. Wolfgang won like 4 or 5 of them. He won every race he ran that year with USAC. Wow. And he's the tops of that 100% club. But yeah, it's like say, but all the non-wing guys were there. Steve Butler and whoever, and Danny Smith and Saldana, and like I say, it was wing guys, Brooke Tatnell, and it was a good race. Like I say, it's cool.
Well, let's close this out by talking about what you're doing now, and what are you trying to get as a dad and as a guy who's supporting Jet, right? Like, what are you hoping to have him be able to do? Obviously, you have a Hall of Fame career, and you've been racing for a long time. Like, what are your goals for Jet?
My goal is just for Jet to be the best he can be, and a lot of that's really up to him. And because I mean, I'm 15 years older than I was when I started with my dad compared to Jet, and
you talk about the mindset when you guys were leaving the races. Like, do you think about that and try to make sure that Jet does get to have fun?
Yeah, and I'd say I don't want him to look at things the way I do, because I kind of had a rare way I look at racing, and I still do. I don't. I just, like I say, most people that race, they go because they enjoy it and they race for fun, and that's how it should be. And I've never really raced for that reason. I purely raced for the desire to win and destroy people.
Brett is one of the nicest guys you will meet at the pit area, but that line right there tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, that's like I say, that's it. And I still, like I say, I'm still 100% that way. I go with Jet. Like I say, that I show up to racetrack this year, I want to destroy the competition. I say, yeah.
How does that not rub off on him? How does that not?
Well, I'm sure it does, but I'm sure also, right? Like he's going to forge his own way of doing things.
Yeah, Jet's a different personality than me. Jet is a lot more outgoing. He's more of a people person. He's got a lot more of a salesman's type personality. He likes to be liked, and he wants to, like I say, he wants to be one of the guys, and like I say, he likes all the things that you need to like, and I'm just what I'm trying to instill in him is just a little bit of that killer desire, or the killer instinct, I should say, and because anymore going anywhere, it's really hard in racing, and if you want to make a living at racing, it's not really realistic. I mean, that's very few people on a very upper tier. There are probably 20 people in America that making a living driving race cars. But if you get good enough, you can make some money driving locally and racing in the area, and you can have a lot of fun and be successful at it. And that's what I want Chet to be.
All right, last thing, because if we don't take care of Kelly, you got to keep everybody in the family happy. All right. And so she dropped a question in the chat here on our Facebook Live broadcast. Rich asked what your most memorable win was, but what is a racetrack or an event that you really enjoyed going to during your career?
A racetrack or an event?
Yeah. So what was your favorite track to run, or your most, your favorite event to run?
Well, I-96 Speedway would probably be, the half mile would have been my favorite track to run. And it, nothing against the track they got there today. I like the track they got there, but I've always been a half mile guy, and I love the half mile at I-96, and I won a lot of races there, and even Hartford for that part. I always enjoyed racing there a lot. And
I will always kick myself that I never made it to I-96 or Hartford before they got cut down. Never did. Never saw them.
They were like I say, for half miles, they were really good racing tracks. And Hartford was probably the best racing big track because it would get slick to top to bottom, and it raced a lot like Port Royal. It put on those kind of races to where like say a lot of half mile races, they get strung out and tend to not be quite as good a shows as short track stuff, but Hartford always seemed to put on pretty good shows, really good shows on the big track. And like I say, I probably miss that place the most, being the big track. And yeah, like I say, other than that, like I say, that's probably the main places I enjoyed racing a lot through my career. I mean, I like Crystal Speedway, and there ain't many tracks that Merritt Speedway was never one of my favorites. And it's nothing against the track or facilities. It just never fit my deal.
Yeah.
And I want to get more.
Huh? Yeah. I was going to ask that. Another one of our listeners, Kenneth, I wanted to get some of the questions in here. And I probably know the answer to this one, but Kenneth asked, what's your favorite racing to be a spectator at?
None. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of going to race, but if I went to a race, Kokomo puts on a fantastic show. Like the World of Outlaws, high limit type stuff is always spectacular. Fairbury with the sprint car is a fantastic show. Like I say, that's one place I regret not getting to run in my career. And like I say, any kind of good short track, like those places put on fantastic shows.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Brett, I want to say thank you for making time to be on the program tonight. Congratulations, man. A Hall of Fame career, class of 2020 inductee. And now, like I said, I love that you're trying to have fun now with Jet going to the racetrack and being a part of that. So that's really cool. So appreciate that, and appreciate you making time to be on the show.
No, I appreciate you having me on. And like I say, I was really fortunate to have the career I had.
Cool. All right, Brett. Well, have a great night. We're going to take a break. When we come back, another first-timer on the show, Tanner Tallarico, is coming up next. This is the Horsepower Happenings Podcast.
The Horsepower Happenings Podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings Podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Cody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
This place completely fills up for the little 500 people from all over.
Here comes Jake Trader at number 29. How about that? He will be the bridesmaid newborn. Bobby Santos is going to pick up the win.
Oh, trouble already.
Wow.
Trouble over at turn 4, 2 to go. Cody Swanson is there.
Here goes Rory.
Back-to-back champion Tyler Rourke wins.
I guess tonight I was a sprint car guy.
Mark News is back. Michigan Area Racing Connection News keeps fans in the tri-state area up to date on national headlines, local results, regional news, and so much more. Home of the Horsepower Happenings podcast, 500 Sprintcast, Gridline Social, Job Bank, Fastlane Images, KG Media, and so much more. MarkNews.org is the one stop for any race fan who needs to know what's going on in the Michigan area. Plus, get the Mark News weekly newsletter sent right to your inbox, FREE free. Sign up today and learn more at marknews.org. Marknews.org, the Michigan Area Racing Connection.
Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. It is our pleasure now to welcome in 3 for 3 tonight, Rich, a first-time guest on Horsepower Happenings, a guy that I call a friend sometimes, unless we're racing on the sim. Tanner Tallarico, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, guys? Appreciate you having me on.
So this is pretty cool. You know, truthfully, Horsepower Happenings has kind of been a snob over the last few years to the pure stock and street stock guys. And I've been thinking about needing to get you on the show, and then you announced you were going modified racing, and I thought, okay, this is great. We're going to bridge this gap with Tanner Tallarico, and man, this is exciting. Talk about the decision. There's a big question here because you're racing Sportsman at Berlin.
Yep.
Then you get your old car out and you go pure stock racing at Owasso. Now an opportunity to go back racing at Berlin and Owasso with the modified. Kind of take me through these last 3 years on how this has all played out.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's been a roller coaster to say the least. Really what happened was we put that Sportsman car together to go up to Berlin and try to play around up there. And honestly, for me, going to Berlin, I think it's kind of agreed upon, at least in the Michigan racing scene, that like everybody says, if you can win at Berlin, like you can win anywhere, that kind of thing. And I've got family and stuff up there. So we built that car to go up there and kind of be like in that neck of the woods. And for me, it was like, if I can go to Berlin and win, like that would be my checkbox that I want to check. So we went up there, we raced there for 3 years. We won, I want to say it was a 24 icebreaker. So that box was checked right there. And then kind of from that point on, it was just like, okay, we want to like keep moving forward and try more challenges. And that just, we weren't 100% sure what that was going to be. We knew we wanted to do something different, but weren't entirely sure. So we sold.
When you're running that Sportsman at Berlin, you're in between about 3 classes.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, it's a really competitive class, which was part of the draw of why we went up there. But knowing that we wanted to do something different, we kind of sent that car down the road. And I didn't want to just sit on my butt all last season. So we had the old street stock that a lot of people from around here are familiar with, was literally in a barn. I'm pretty sure it had raccoons living in it. And yeah, we pulled it out of the barn and I put a different body on it over the course of like a month and did some interior things and suspension things just to try to get it somewhat on par with like what most street stocks are today, just to kind of fill the void between 24 and I guess it would be 26. I still want to run that car a little bit. I'm not real sure where, but just run it for fun. But yeah, I just decided to go down the mod route. They're super popular around here lately. I don't think it's a secret either that with everything that's going on at Owasso with Rex Wheeler and everything he's doing to help the mods and all the classes over there, it was just a no-brainer. I spotted last year for a good buddy of mine, and that really, I think, opened my eyes and made the decision pretty easily. So yeah, we're going to go open wheel racing again. I started in a quarter midget, and the way things work out, we're right back into open wheels. So we're going to run with it. I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be a fun year for sure.
So how did, obviously Rex and Jeff work together on this deal, right, for this year? Because the Midwest Modifieds Tour are going away, and they kind of had to do something for Modifieds than just having Owasso and Birch Run running them on just regular nights. But back at Berlin, they run a format that nobody else runs, right? Double features, and the inverts are kind of flipped each way. Did you like that, to where maybe if you don't have the best car in the first race, you got a chance to win the second race?
Yeah, it was definitely a change of pace. That's the first time for me that I've ever ran double features anywhere. And I'll be honest, the first time I went up there, probably like anybody doing it for their first time, you're kind of like hesitant about it. It's totally different. But once I started doing it, and I think a lot of the other guys up there that run double features too would probably say the same thing. It's really, really fun. The races are shorter. I should say the races are shorter compared to a typical feature. So like there is no saving, at least in my class there wasn't. It was kind of like you had to get what you could get right from the drop of the green flag. And you could tell that from inside the car. Like everybody pushes a lot harder cleanly, which is obviously a big thing, but everybody pushes a lot harder. I think it puts on a better show for the fans too. Just like I say, everything happens a lot quicker. Like it's no time to save. So I would say I'm good with either of them. Nothing beats like an old school heat feature format. I think most of us grew up doing that, but double features are just as entertaining as well. So especially at a track like Berlin and in those classes that they have up there.
Right. And you know, I can hear people saying, well, if it's not good, just lay back in the first one, save your tires. There's no guarantee you're going to hit that invert for that second feature. And that doesn't do you any good.
Yeah, I mean, when you throw the invert into the whole thing, it definitely makes it that much more entertaining. Let's be honest. Like that's what it is. It's definitely entertaining. And the way that a lot of tracks do it, with not really knowing what the invert's going to be like until the second feature starts, a lot of times a lot of tracks will do the draw in between. So you literally have no idea. You just go as hard as you can. And then when they're awarding points as well, I mean, you don't really want to, not finish as good in the first feature, because you're going to give up that big chunk of points that you would hopefully retain if you actually go out and race the race hard. So I like the format a lot. Like I say, me personally, I'm always going to be somewhat of a traditionalist. I really like the heat feature format, but as somebody that went into the double feature thing not really knowing what to expect and then actually being able to do it, I think double features are just as entertaining as well. And like I said, from the fan perspective, it's probably really, really cool too. But yeah, I like either of them for sure.
All right, what is the comparison like now as you prepare for this modified debut? Sportsman, I was calling it a pure stock. Was it a street stock that you were racing at Owasso? Yep. Okay. Yep. Wide open horsepower with a modified itty bitty tire. Was the Sportsman like that at all? I mean, you guys had some power, but I feel like the tire was a little bigger. I don't know. What are you going to draw off of for this modified?
Well, that's a good question actually. I think kind of to draw off of that, the Michigan modified thing is going to be Michigan Modified Series. I think that's going to be a really good kind of telltale of exactly what the comparisons are going to be. But as far as the Sportsman car goes, we were on the American Racer up there, which is generally a pretty hard tire. Berlin doesn't have a lot of grip as it is, so you're kind of slip sliding around in that car. Obviously, I've never ran like a hard lap in a modified, so it's hard for me to really tell. But just going off of everybody that I've talked to, I'll just use my buddy Ron Hart for an example. Everything that he mentions to me, he makes it sound like the mods are going to be, at least like I say, compared to the Sportsman, quite a bit more gripped up, which I'm looking forward to. The street stock I raced last year and for all the years before that, if nobody's seen it before, that thing's like a land yacht, and it's probably the heaviest street stock in the state. And to get a good lap out of that thing, you really got to be like perfect and pushing hard and not overdriving. So
I can tell you from experience, about 10 years ago, I decided to hit that thing at Corrigan Oil.
Yep. Yep. So I think, yeah, comparing that car to what I ran last year to the mod that I'm going to run this year, it's like I'm going from this end of the spectrum all the way to this end. So I don't really know what to expect, I guess, to answer your question.
You said a hard lap in a mod. It'll be your first like hard lap. Have you tested a modified before?
No, I've never ran anything in a mod. So I'm learning on the fly. And I'm just hoping that it's going to be a good time. I'm sure it will be. Like I say, everybody I've talked to, they all say compared to what I've been racing, it shouldn't be any harder unless I'm doing something drastically wrong, which I wouldn't think I would be. But we're going to find out when we get there for sure.
Well, I'm glad, Tanner. I mean, you're not scared of anything because obviously you went out and picked one of the weakest classes in the state and in the region to go run with, right? Because there isn't anybody that's any good in a modified around here.
Right. Yeah, I'm totally looking forward to it. And like I said earlier, part of the reason why we went to Berlin was because of the competition level in the sportsman class. And for me, a lot of people look at things and, they generalize winning is like that's the main thing, right? And obviously everybody wants to win, but for me, I've always looked at things like what's the next challenge to try to push myself. So looking back, we ran the street stock. That was kind of like the starting point. We dabbled in some ARCA stuff a while ago, like probably 2014, just to say we did it type of thing. Ran some dirt just to say we did it. And the mod's no different. I'm doing it more so not only to just say I did it, but like I say, win. And it's just the next challenge up. And looking at the competition level in the mods, like you were saying, Rich, I mean, I can't think of another class in the state that has competition level that high. So we're just jumping up to the next level, kind of see where things play out. Rookie year is going to be challenging, I think. We got a really good car, though. Travis Eddy's been helping me out a lot. We got a How by Eddie car.
Oh, man. Didn't get a slouch behind you on that one, did you?
Yeah, so we're looking forward to it. But the only downfall is I spent a lot of my funding on a really nice car, and we're going to have to run with the street stock motor this year, which you never know. I mean, everybody always used to say, like, mod, you don't need to have the most power that you have. But if we're going to run a Wasso with the repave and the F70 is a really soft tire, everybody's saying it's going to take just about as much motor as you can give it. It'll take it. So we might be a little bit behind the 8 ball in the power department for this year. But if everything goes according to plan, we're just trying to already look into 2027. If we can just learn chassis stuff, how to drive the car, the fundamentals, all that stuff this year, and then really try to put the full program together for 27.
Real
and
quick.
I was just gonna say, Tanner, when you pull in, no matter where it is, I mean, there's 5 or 10 guys, like you said, that can win at a modified race anywhere in the Midwest, and they have, right?
Yep. Yeah, they're all proven. I mean, you look at guys that run in like the old Midwest Mod Tour, like anybody, you can handpick any of them. You think of guys like Trevor Berry or like McManus, and any of the guys that run up at Owasso on a regular basis, like they're all super fast. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I say, for me, winning is really cool, but just the challenge of moving up to another division that's that high of a competition level, that's also just as cool to me as about the rest of it. So
well, I want to say real quick here, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor for this interview, a new sponsor, if you will. Tri-State Sprints has come on board as a marketing partner with Horsepower Happenings. Based here in Michigan, the Tri-State Sprints is the newest sprint car sanction on the scene, a spec tire allowing sprint cars and stand-up modifieds with all different power ranges to compete wheel-to-wheel at some of the best facilities across the Great Lakes region. Don't miss the season opener Friday, May 22nd at Corrigan Oil Speedway. You can learn more by finding Tri-State Sprints on Facebook. Was there concern, like, when Midwest Modifieds goes away, was that what you were eyeballing when you buy this modified, or were you always thinking about Owasso first? What was that transition like, because I'm sure you'd already purchased the modified?
Actually, we purchased the mod in October, and honestly, we didn't ever really think too much about the Midwest Mod stuff. We just knew we wanted to get into something different, and we wanted to get into something that was going to be pretty versatile. And obviously the mod, just about anywhere you go, I mean, you can pick an asphalt track off the map. If you take a mod there, the rules and stuff are going to be generally pretty close to the same. It's not necessarily that same. It's not necessarily the same for other classes like street stocks and stuff. Sometimes there's variations and whatnot between the classes, but for us, it was more so just being able to take that car. And if we just felt like going to, I mean, obviously the game plan's Owasso in Berlin, but if we want to flip the script and go run somewhere else with it on an off weekend, we want to be able to do that with minimal effort. We want to be able to just pick up the stuff and run. So that was the big reason. Yes, it was a downer that the Midwest Mod stuff kind of went away, but there's kind of some rumors going on at the time that it sounded like Rex and Jeff were trying to put some kind of deal together. Nothing confirmed at the time, and mind you, this was back in the fall, like late summer, and
so much so that at the October MSPA meeting, Jeff Striegel stood up during his time and said, "No, Rex and I are not buying the Midwest Modified Tour." Like it was it had that much momentum behind it.
Yeah, and finally, when I started hearing rumors of that, and there was a possibility that mods might be going to Berlin again, I was like, I called my dad on the phone, and I'm like, we got to figure something out. We got to figure out how to get in a mod. We got to find a decent one. Again, big props to Ron Hart. He helped kind of, I guess, lead the way in finding a good, decent chassis that would work out good. And like I say, hooked us up with Travis, and we're able to locate a really nice car. And yeah, once I heard that Owasso and Berlin were going to double up and do that little 5-race deal, it was pretty much a done deal. So 5-race little mini season pretty much is what did it for me. So
let me ask you about this. I have to ask you because of this.
Yep.
Are you a golfer?
I'm not. I don't have the attention span to golf. I don't have the attention span for much of anything. So
well, you better learn how to score in golf real quick, because that's what you're going to be doing in this mini series. The closer you are to zero, you're the best out there. That's how they're going to do it.
What a cool points format, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've never really done anything like this. Every time I've ran for points, I've always been like, I don't know how to say it. I've always been kind of just focused on the sorry, I think I lost you guys. Give me one second.
There you go. Well, my good. And now it's a party.
There we go.
Rose, then it was sideways. Holy smokes.
So the point stuff, I've never really ran the point stuff hardcore, I guess you could say. But looking at the way that they're running the point stuff between Berlin and Owasso, it's definitely going to be interesting. I was talking with a couple of my friends, and I think that we all agree those Berlin races are going to be packed. Like, there's going to be a lot of cars over there just based on stuff we're hearing, based on, like guys saying they're going, whatnot. I would not be surprised if we go to Berlin and there's not 45 or 50 cars there easily. It's going to be packed. And then the same thing, obviously, for Owasso. I mean, Berlin's getting a lot of the spotlight, but Owasso, same deal. If you're running for points in that thing, you got to go back and forth between the two. So that little 5-race stretch, just that little chunk of the season, I think is going to be amazing as far as car counts and the competition and stuff go.
Is that going to help you, do you think, at Berlin? You're not going to be running on American racers, I don't believe, at Berlin. Nope. So you're used to holding onto a race car, sliding around, probably going to have a little more grip for a little while in your modified before it starts going away. Do you feel comfortable with that?
Yeah, I think that in a weird roundabout way, I think that the cars that I've been driving are probably going to be just a little bit harder than what the mod is. I don't want to say like the mod's easy mode by any means compared to what I've been used to. But I mean, you think about it, the way the car is constructed, the engine's pulled back. We'll be on the F70 up there, I believe, which is a pretty soft tire compared to the American Racer. It's a full-blown slick. It's like a mini slick, if you're unfamiliar with it, where the American Racer's treaded. So, yeah, I mean, the tire in itself is definitely going to be quite the game changer. But, yeah, then the cars, man, I'm totally thinking that Berlin's hard enough to figure out how to get around as it is. And once I feel like I figured it out in the Sportsman, I feel like I'm going to have to just completely throw at least a half or a good chunk of the stuff that I know out the window when we get up there with the mod and just kind of start over. So I guess the only silver lining is I know where a lot of the nuances of that place are. Things like bumps and apron transitions and stuff. You run all over that racetrack. But I'm definitely going to have to relearn like throttle points, brake points, different steering input points. All that stuff's going to change. So I'm looking forward to it. I think both tracks are going to put on a really good show. I think that obviously racing at Owasso last year, I'll probably take off a little faster there. But nonetheless, yeah, when we go to Berlin, I'm totally looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome.
Or a little bit of advice, just watch the last two Battle at Berlins. And watch Carson Hocevar. Just wind it up and run the third groove all the way around, right? Yeah. He found a way to do it.
Yep, he's got some laps there for sure. I've watched a few of the battles and like the Money in the Banks and stuff like that up there. And some of those guys in the super late models, man, they can work that thing all the way up to the second and third groove. I mean, it takes a little while to get the track rubbered in, but if there's one track in the state where you can get some like really solid multi-groove racing, it's definitely up there. I don't know how much of that will be in the mod, just because the mods probably have a little bit more overall grip, being so light and just like I say, being on the F70. So, I mean, we'll just have to see when we get up there. The other thing with Berlin that's completely different too is it's really sensitive to track temp and like weather changes. Of all the tracks I've raced at, that place is super sensitive to weather. So we could go up there and test on a cloudy day and go back and race on a sunny day, and your setup might be completely backwards from what you tested with. So it's going to be a challenge, but like I said earlier, I'm looking forward to the challenge for sure.
All right, let's get to some comments on the Facebook Live here. Our buddy Chuck that we were talking about earlier, he wants to know, right? So you kind of touched on it, modifieds at Birch Run. Obviously, Chuck wants to see you out there. Are you gonna branch out and get away from Owasso and Berlin when the schedule allows and try to hit some other tracks?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, the whole game plan for us. I mean, this year will probably be pretty limited as far as Owasso and Berlin goes. Maybe at the end of the year when our planned schedule that we have laid out is kind of over with. We might go do some things like maybe the Michigan Cup at Springport, which is literally like 10 minutes that way
Over
behind
there.
my house. Yeah, it's like right behind my house. So we might go do something like that. I'm really trying to con my dad into going down to Florida, like probably not this winter or next winter, but in the next couple of years, we want to go down to Florida.
Like Speed Weeks, New Smyrna?
Something like that, whether we go to New Smyrna or go down if the Modifieds of Mayhem and stuff are still running at Five Flags on Snowball Weekend, maybe go down and do something like that. I've always wanted to travel. I've always been limited by the car that I've had. And now that we have a car, like I said earlier, that's pretty versatile, it gives us options to go and do things like that. Or like maybe Nashville, anything. I've got all kinds of tracks that I have circled on my bucket list, I guess, that I want to try to get to.
So, we're gonna keep Flounder in the conversation because he's got another question for you.
Yep.
With working with the Flow crew at Berlin, any thoughts of jumping into a race car if you figure out you don't know how to drive a mod?
He's got a race car. How about the broadcast?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I love doing the Flow stuff. I like to tell everybody when I was doing that. And honestly, I'd like to get back up there again this year if I got an open weekend, maybe to promote the mod races and stuff. But yeah, it was a totally different perspective. That whole thing kind of happened on the fly. Matt McKenzie is like one of the greatest people to learn from when you're totally coming in completely green, no idea what you're doing, nothing. Jeff Striegel's outside the window, like pointing and directing and doing all the things and telling us what to do. If you know Jeff, you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, it was awesome. I love doing the Flow stuff. I didn't think that like it would be as fun as it was. I kind of wanted to just, like I said, it's a new challenge. I wanted to look at racing from a different perspective. I've never looked at it before. And yeah, one race turned into two and then 2 to 4. And then I ended up doing like, I think it was 2024. I was at Berlin every single weekend, whether it was for racing or Flow. So I didn't miss a single race that year. And it was sweet. I would totally go back and do it again. Last year was a little crazy. I was building a house and stuff and had some other stuff going on with my job that kind of made it a little bit tougher. But if I can, I'd like to get back up there and maybe do it again for sure.
All right, last thing. By the way, I do want to tell you that Tom, is it Dumas, I think?
Yep.
Commented in the chat and said that he's looking forward to seeing you and your dad and your crew at Berlin. They miss hanging out with you guys. So
yeah, I miss those guys too. We'll see you up there for sure. We'll be there.
I wanted to ask you about ASRC. Obviously something that I was a part of for a little while. Rich, I always pick on Rich that he's the guy that turns his nose up at sim racing, but this is such a cool thing that you've built, and you see with ASRC, a lot of the local guys that drive cars around here are part of your league, and then you see top level guys from across the country come in, whether it's in real life racers or top level sim racers. Like, talk about that and how that's kind of applied to your real world stuff as well.
Yeah. So right before COVID started, me and a group of my buddies, we were going to start up an iRacing league called ASRC. We call it the American Sim Racing Club. And the whole thing started just as something to do in the pastime. I mean, we were all locked down at home. Sim racing was thriving. Obviously, they had the Pro Invitational thing everybody was watching on TV with the NASCAR guys. And we just wanted something to do just to pass the time. We didn't ever really have any plans for it to blow up as big as it has. And I mean, fast forward, I think we're in like our 5th or 6th year or something. I don't even know. I know it's been like 5 years. It goes by so fast. I mean, we were over like 200 members or something. We race on 2 nights. We're predominantly short track based. But yeah, we run super late models and street stocks on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights. We've got guys in there from all over Michigan, Indiana, Ohio.
What I think is cool is that I remember seeing guys in there racing against them, or when I was doing the league stuff, league director or whatever, and then all of a sudden I go to Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway and they're there racing a car. It's like, holy crap! You don't realize who you're connecting through the sim.
Yeah, it's super cool, man. Like I say, especially in the wintertime, like this time of year, because everybody, you know, you leave the racetrack on championship night and everybody kind of goes their separate ways, builds cars, does all the things, and you might not see those people or talk to those people again until, you know, preseason testing and stuff rolls around. But, you know, I've got a group of friends. I was just talking with half of them before I got on here, and I'm probably gonna go talk to them again when I get off. They're probably watching right now, but yeah, it's really fun because you can get on there and let's face it, real life, you don't ever really want to make any contact or anything with anybody. You got to race really clean. And we really make a big deal about that. Sim racing can get kind of out of hand if you don't kind of keep that stuff in check. But we're super
Sim
down to earth.
racing and pro late model racing have a lot of similarities.
Yes. So we try to keep a lot of that stuff in check as much as we can and just provide a place, like we say, anybody, it doesn't matter how long you've been on iRacing, how fast you are, if you're an iRacer, what your I rating is. It's just all about having a place to go and race. And we try to make sure that everybody, regardless of skill level, you have a group of cars that you can go out and have a good time with. So, like I say, we had no plans of it blowing up as big as it did, and it just took off. And thank goodness that we have an admin team, because I would be pulling my hair out if I had to do this by myself. Because my admin team helps me out a lot, and we've got a really solid group of members. They all know it. I try to tell them every single week. They do a great job. And yeah, I appreciate you bringing up ASRC. That's awesome. That's going to make all those guys happy for sure.
All right. Now you're not going to smile because now it's my turn. All right.
Yeah, here comes the iRacing snob in to ruin the mood.
So now, first of all, I'm an old man, right? So when I raced, there was no jumping on a sim and learning. My opinion is, if you can't already drive a race car, then you're not, just because you can jump on a sim and play a video game doesn't make you a good race car driver. If you're a good race car driver and you can jump on a sim, you may get a little bit of information on a track that you're racing, but nothing is the same as jumping in the race car. That's my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree 100%. It's just, you know, it's one of those things, like you were saying, I use it myself as more of a tuning tool, if you want to think of it that way. iRacing's like setups and stuff are really, really accurate for the cars they have. Now, they don't have like, say, they don't have like a Midwest style modified on there. They've got like the tour type modifieds and SK modifieds, and they've got street stocks on there. Nothing's ever going to really correlate unless you have the scanned version of the car. Nothing's ever going to correlate over 100%. But as somebody that's like maybe trying to learn setups, or like I say, learning a track for the first time, that's really, I think, the bread and butter of where iRacing comes in and really helps out. Like you said, Rich, I mean, nothing's ever going to beat the real thing. That's for sure. I agree 100%. But in the wintertime, staying sharp, I think it helps your maybe your hand-eye and stuff a little bit. Just kind of keep that in tune. But yeah, more than a training tool than anything. And then, like I say, you got me and about 30 other people that get on there on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights. And it always starts off serious, and then you hear somebody like crack open a beer or something in the background, and then we're off to the races from there. So it's a good time for sure.
Well, one of the things that made me look bad, and I'm going to go back during COVID when nobody was racing, nobody was allowed to race.
I wondered if you would be man enough to bring this up.
Hey, I can see both sides of the fence. We had Parker Retzlaff on the program because he won a big iRacing race. He was one of the big. Oh, he wasn't then. He was an iRacer. Now he's in the Xfinity. Now he's in the O'Reilly Parts Series from iRacing. That's how he got his ride. I couldn't believe it. When he announced that he was going up to NASCAR, I was like, he's doing what?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And he is good.
And we discovered him, Rich.
Yes. But that is the exception to the rule, in my opinion.
Yeah. There's a few things. I mean, during COVID, I was on a pro team, not as a driver. I'm not that good. Trust me. I'm not even remotely as good as some of those guys, but I was on the team kind of helping with setups and spotting a little bit from here and there. And I mean, there's a few guys that I can think of that got some kind of ride out of it. Raja Caruth was one. I'm sure there's other ones that'll pop into my mind as soon as we get off the call.
Well,
but
that was always the thing about William Byron, right? I mean,
yeah, Willie
he did some IRL stuff, but yeah. Well, I hate to cut you off, but I have to.
Yep.
So Tanner, your website, or your social media rather, has your schedule that you're planning on running. People can find you there, Tanner Tallarico, and can follow along with what you got going on. I appreciate making time, man. This has been fun. I'm glad that I gave you a call, and looking forward to seeing you. Are you going to be at the Findlay? I'll at least be there.
Yeah, we're planning on being just about everywhere. So I think there's only one date. I want to say second or third to last race at Owasso. I might not be able to be at, but other than that, we're going to be at everything. So
All
I'm
right,
looking forward to it.
Rich and I will see you there. All right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Well,
I appreciate you.
We'll take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to put a bow on this episode of the Horsepower Happenings podcast.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Cody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. Great, Zach, great show tonight. 3 great guests. Man, from all aspects of the sport, huh?
Yeah, it's great. And we got to fly here on the closing segment here. Speaking of iRacing with Tanner Tallarico, our producer, Noah Longyear, has his PAL Racing League that he's got to get to. So let's quickly go through the upcoming calendar. We talked about it earlier in the show. Attica Raceway Park is the third time going to be the charm, Rich. We think probably not for this weekend.
Maybe Saturday if they can get everything to dry up. It might be raining on Friday. If they get too much rain, they're not going to have time to dry it by Saturday. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. One thing we are looking at, Zach, Highland Racing Association. These guys are familiar to us. Right. These are the former CRA Sportsmen and Street Stocks. They're going to kick off their 2026 season at Shady Bowl Speedway, HRA Street Stocks and Late Model Sportsmen, Sunday, March 29th. Pit gates open at 8 a.m., grandstands 10 a.m., practice begins at 10 as well, qualifying at 12:30. Afternoon racing at Shady Bowl at 2 p.m., Zach.
Yeah, I love the afternoon show. And then if you're a fan of dirt late models and you've got the itch, the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series is coming to our region kind of this weekend. Friday night, they'll be down at Atomic Speedway, and then Saturday down at Brownstown Speedway. We've been to Brownstown, Rich. That is a great show. So if you're looking for a place to go, there are your options. Atomic is a great show as well on Friday. So there are your options for that. And then coming up just a few weeks, the Michigan Auto Racing Fan Club season kickoff event on Saturday, April 4th. MarkNews.org will be sponsoring an Easter egg hunt as part of that. So that's going to do it for our program tonight. Want to say thank you to our first-time guests, Avery Demland, Brett Mann, and, of course, Tanner Tallarico. For our producer, Noah Longyear, co-host Rich France, I'm Zach Heiser, and we'll talk to you same time, same place next week right here on Horsepower Happenings.
You've been listening to Horsepower Happenings. The views and opinions expressed in tonight's show may not directly reflect that of Horsepower Happenings. The contents of this program may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or disseminated without the express written consent of Horsepower Happenings. Follow Horsepower Happenings on Facebook, Instagram, X, and all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, and Pandora, to keep up on what's happening.